I am pleased and honored to have on the line with us Governor Don Siegelman, the former governor of Alabama, right now a federal inmate, our political prisoner here in the United States. They're trying to make a movie about it called Killing Atticus Finch. You can read all about it at free-don.org. And Governor Siegelman, welcome back to our program. It's been a while since we've talked on the air.
Tom, it's been at least 3 years because I've been locked up over 3. But how are you?
I am fine. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. I've been doing a lot of writing, doing a lot of thinking, and of course there's some issues that are of concern to me that are popping up on Capitol Hill, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to call. The Safe Justice Act, which is being proposed by Bobby Scott and some others in the House, and at least tentatively has the support of Speaker Boehner and President Obama, is hopefully going to make its way into or out of committee sometime soon. But while their objective is good, and certainly the passing of the Safe Justice Act would be a tremendous help to a lot of people. It would also, I think, relieve a lot of pressure from the prison system, the overcrowding, and that, I think, is one of their primary objectives, to reduce the number and to reduce the cost of incarceration. There are some fundamental issues that I hope that will be addressed at some point, and that is the mandate that led us to overcriminalization and mass incarceration. Mm-hmm. At present, we're operating under the old mandate of the war on drugs and the war on crime, a lock them up and throw away.
This call is from a federal prison.
Just in case your listeners and viewers forgot.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
a federal prison.
Yeah.
But the lock them up and throw away the key mentality gave way to draconian sentences, the mandatory minimums, which led to mass incarceration. But the whole process is based on arrest and convictions and long sentences. If our prisons stay full, everybody keeps their jobs because they get bonuses and financial rewards and promotions, and some people get elected as DAs or judges on the basis of they get tough on crime mantra. So what we have to do in order to turn that around is to reverse the mandate. It's easy to declare a war, but it's as a policy statement, but it's much more difficult to come up with the right ideas to actually battle the correct enemy. And in this case, the enemy is not the first-time offenders, not the nonviolent offenders, not the petty drug dealers. It's the recidivists who keep coming back to prison. Mm-hmm. So by reversing the mandate and focusing on recidivism, then we would see programs develop that would try to prevent somebody from coming back to prison. It's difficult for prisons to address the issues that led somebody to prison in the first place, but the reality is prisons are probably society's last chance to change the outcomes. And to do that, again, we have to change the mandate. Changing the mandate would mean, for instance, instead of sending first offenders to prison, it may mean pretrial diversion. It may mean more drug treatment programs. For those people who are in prison, the recidivists, those people who are likely to come back to prison unless something is done, then the obvious answer is to give these people societal skills, job skills, language skills, teach them how to read and write and speak and be able to fill out a job application, but primarily job skills, and then to have a human resource officer at every prison who can try to locate a job for people so that they have a place to go when they get out.
Right. Right. So is this a piece of legislation that you would encourage people to encourage their members of Congress to support?
Well, yes. There's a bill floating around again in the House. It's called the Safe Justice Act, and there are a couple of primary sponsors, but Republicans and Democrats have signed on. And again, Speaker Boehner and the President have both spoken out about this Safe Justice Act.
So what's the latest on your case, sir?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That's quite right. We're talking with Don Siegelman, former governor of Alabama, the website free-don.org. What's the status of your case right now?
Well, we're making our third trip to the U.S. Supreme Court. I have a couple of lawyers. One of them is Greg Craig, former White House counsel, and the other is Clifford Sloan, also having served in as an assistant White House counsel under Clinton. Mm-hmm. Most recently, a special envoy to President Obama, for President Obama, to Cuba. But both are very good lawyers, and they are working pro bono and doing the best they can with a difficult situation. But that is the legal status. The other status is trying to get the president to consider a pardon.
Yeah.
So we'll be dealing with that issue when the time gets right. I don't think it's the right time at this point.
It'd probably be after the election, it seems, or
after the election, if at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look forward to perhaps coming back on your show and talking specifically about some ways in which we can balance our criminal justice system, perhaps balance the scales of justice, maybe reset our moral compass so that we're focusing on seeking justice and seeking the truth instead of just draconian sentences that destroy people's lives and families.
Yeah, just simple revenge. Governor, the door is always open here. Anytime you call, we will put you on the air. You are always welcome to
well, thank you. I'll try to give you a call next week after we see what the House and Senate are doing with criminal justice reform.
That would be great. That would be great.
By the way, for those of you who don't know Thom Hartmann, he carries a big stick. I will tell you this brief story. When I was first convicted, the federal judge put me under such constraints that I was not able to travel to Washington to speak to my congressman. They had me classified as a terrorist, and within a couple of days of Tom talking on his over the mic that he had to people around the country, the judge relented and had me classified in a normal fashion so that I could travel. So
wow.
I have great respect for you and appreciation for what you've already done for me.
Well, thank you. And I would say people need to know your story. Your story is an amazing story. Every elected official in the United States is in a position right now where if they had a political enemy like you did in Karl Rove, that their personal version of Karl Rove could put them in prison for the same non-crime that you committed, which was simply appointing somebody to a hospital commission who didn't enrich you by one penny or anything that you know that had to do with you. And it's a very, very important cautionary tale, and people can read about it over at free-don.org. And I think it's a great injustice. I consider you one of our nation's political prisoners, and one that really exposes the rot at the core of in particular the Republican Party. I mean, this was after you won that election against Bob Riley, and they discovered these votes in the voting machines and all. It's just an amazing story that people need to learn more about. And
well, they can also tune in to the killing of Atticus Finch at I think is it GoFundMe.
Yeah,
kind of
and there's a link to that page to the GoFundMe campaign on the homepage at free-don.org, and we'll put a link at thomhartmann.com, and we'll tweet the link out, and we'll put it on Facebook, right now, and we'll continue to do that. And it's just the way that you have lived your life, and the noble and exemplary example that you're setting, and the compassion and understanding and insight. I take my hat off to you, Governor Siegelman.
Thank you. Let me close by giving your viewers and listeners one thing to consider.
We have 1 minute, sir.
On January the 4th, 2010, the Solicitor General argued to the U.S. Supreme Court that U.S. citizens do not have a constitutional right not to be framed. That means citizens can be framed with impunity. There's nothing civilly that you can do about it. So I'd like to come back on and tell you how that serves as an umbrella of protection for prosecutors to work their will on anybody in the United States.
Wow. So the federal judge said that we as citizens do not have the right to be framed as in false charges?
Absolutely. The U.S. Solicitor General argued to the Supreme Court that U.S. citizens do not have a constitutional right not to be framed.
Amazing. Amazing.
I'll leave that with you and talk to you maybe next week.
Okay. I look forward to it. Governor Don Siegelman, thank you so much for the call, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good talking with you. That was Governor Don Siegelman from federal prison in, I'm not sure exactly where he is right now. And the web page to learn more about this, and you really need to check it out, because this is an amazing story. It's just an amazing story. Is free-don, free-don.org. And check it out and help out if you can.